Welcome to the Network Build Grow podcast, the show where business owners, entrepreneurs, and professionals share their stories, lessons learned, and powerful strategies for building relationships and growing their circle of influence. With Melissa Taylor, your host, each week we'll bring you actionable insights to help you build a better network and a better business. Let's dive in.
We are here with Jess Moore, affectionately known as Jessica as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm really excited to talk to you because you are like me. You have more than one business and you have all the balls juggling on two different businesses. And it's just always fun to meet somebody else who's got same kind of stuff going on.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do know probably more about one of your businesses. You do travel.
Mhm.
You create great experiences for people and do make travel arrangements, and you have a very well-respected travel business, but you are actually endeavoring on a new business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I've begun to delve into the world of AI a little bit more. And this
Mhm,
has stemmed from my travel business. Actually, I started it as a part of how I could help market my travel business and everything, and
mhm.
has really grown because I found that because it is such high demand right now and it's just taking kind of the world by storm, that I'm able to make this into a financial opportunity for myself, an
Yeah.
additional income source. And so that's why I'm delving more into it, as well as being able to really impact other people and help other people in this
With
area.
yeah. And you focus mostly on small business owners that are kind of like you with a small business, solopreneur or small team?
Absolutely. That is where I'm starting. I am currently enrolled in taking courses to become AI certified, which
Mhm.
will allow me to then grow and go into even greater like corporations and things like that. No idea. I have no idea where it's going to grow into, but that will be an opportunity. It's
Mhm.
just right now focusing on small businesses because they're really the ones that really could use this,
Mhm.
uh, the resources for it. So
Yeah, because you multiply yourself in order
yes.
to get more things done and save time. So now there's lots of facets of AI. There's AI for sales, AI for content, AI for marketing, AI for processes, AI agents, all the things. So which area are you focusing on?
Great question. Again, there are kind of a lot, and I am starting out at doing AI video ads for
Okay.
businesses. So
Mhm.
for people who either don't have time or don't desire to be in front of the camera.
Mhm.
I do ads from 15 seconds up to 90 seconds, and these ads are for you can run them as paid ads on social media or whatever resource, or you can use them organically just in your social media posting, or even just on your website, any place that you could have videos. But what makes them unique is that they are funny and engaging and not boring, like really stop the scroll, because they're almost sometimes obnoxious because they really focus on the pain point of your customer, right? And they really exaggerate the pain point of your customer to the point where your customer is like, how did you get in my head and understand? Like, I couldn't, So it really kind of takes that to a next level and really makes it kind of crazy. So it's super fun.
That sounds super fun. Maybe I need to look into having you help me out with some of those because that's definitely something that is up and coming. So you started doing that mostly for your travel business and you found that it
Correct.
worked. And so you're just kind
Mhm.
of taking that same concept and putting it into other businesses?
Right. Well, especially, businesses, some people may find if their business seems kind of boring, like they love their business, but maybe to other people it's boring, right? So, I mean, just for examples, but if somebody who's working with numbers that they love, 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 but somebody else is kind of like, I don't know, that kind of is boring, right? But how do you make it exciting to other people? And how do you really engage those people who really need your service, but
Mhm.
they aren't kind of stopping the scroll and really connecting with you? So that's the people I'm trying to help and reach. Mhm.
That's great. If you network for your business, you already know follow up is everything when it comes to growing relationships and driving success. But here's the thing most of us want to follow up well. we just get stuck. Staying consistent, keeping it personal, making it stand out, it's hard. That's why I use NetEffect.io. It makes follow-up simple, cuts through all the noise, and helps me stay on top of every relationship without dropping the ball. I never miss a follow-up, and honestly, my network wouldn't be the same without it. So check it out, neteffect.io. And right now, you can use promo code NBG50 for 50% off of your first month. neteffect.io, your secret weapon to unforgettable follow-up. Okay, so let's move now into how you find your customers, other than, I mean, obviously you probably use what you do, right? Your
Mhm.
videos to find customers through social
Right.
media and digital platforms. But what about networking? Is that still an integral part of your business?
100% actually. Yeah, that is very much something I am doing. I have found that um, over the past year or so, actually getting myself from behind the computer and out into the world of networking has been huge. Not only for finding customers and adding to that business mindset or the business world of networking there, but just even in just growing personally, growing in my business knowledge, growing in all of the whole world of business for me has just opened up by being in networking events and networking groups.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said getting out from behind the computer. I think a lot of people struggle with, they get on Zoom calls, they get on
Mhm.
networking Zoom calls, but that's still behind the computer. And so
Mhm.
how did you make that leap from, removing your hands from the keyboard, putting on shoes, walking out the
Mhm.
door and going to an actual event? What did that look like for you?
Well, I mean, I do admit it was kind of scary. So I am a personable person,
Mhm.
but it was scary from the standpoint of that I needed to move forward, and that was the next step for me. So I knew I
Mhm.
had to get out there.
Yeah. So tell me what that first experience was like for the viewers that or the listeners that are a little nervous about getting out
Mhm.
from behind the keyboard. They've now got the wardrobe, they've got all the things, they got their business
Mhm.
cards, they're ready to go.
Right.
What does it feel like to step into that room and what advice would you give to them?
Mhm. Well, it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous. And going into it, just knowing that these are also just people and they are business people as well. Um, and I think going into it with not worrying about how are you going to get these people to buy from you, or how are you going to get these people to um, be interested in you, but just going into it as yourself. Because I think there is really something about being authentic and just being yourself that there is nobody else like you at all.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
when you can come in and just be yourself, you will connect with the right people. It's kind of like a magnet, right? Those right people will wind up connecting with you in and honestly, because you're coming in new, there will be seasoned people who will see that, and the right people will come out and also connect with you, right? So
Yeah.
that first experience doesn't have to feel so overwhelming, but do put yourself out there. Don't go and just stand against the wall also, so also making sure that you are willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah, one of the advice that I often hear and that I actually often give is try to get in contact with the person who runs it prior to the
Mhm.
event and let them know, "Hey, I've never been to your event before. What can I expect?" Because
Mhm.
generally, like, I run an event. So if
Right.
somebody reaches out to me, I'm like, "Oh, well, tell me more about what you do." And then
Mhm.
I make sure that the minute they get there, I know somebody to introduce them to.
Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, really good, really good. Okay, so how do you introduce yourself when you go to events? Do you do the typical elevator pitch introduction? Do you just listen and then just respond and have a conversation? What's your go-to?
All right. Well, I tell you, so part of my, I think part of my passion of what I do is to just make life fun and and bring experiences to people. So in both of my businesses, like I am really about creating experiences and fun and living life fully, right? So I come in, I am usually wearing sparkle. Okay. So you can see my shirt. I've got sparkle nails, sparkle eyeshadow, sparkle clothing. Most of the time, something that kind of stands out, because I'm not really afraid to stand out usually. But I also, when I talk to people, say kind of strange things sometimes. So I want to throw people off a little bit. And sometimes I'll just be like, so what did you have for breakfast this morning? Or something like, where was the last place you took your passport? I don't know. Some kind of thing that just like people are like, wait, what? It kind of gives them a second to like, nobody's asked me that question before, especially in a networking event or something. So kind of just throwing people off a little bit, that then it kind of lets their guard down too, because they're like, wait, this person's not just out to throw me their business card and start talking business, right? So it helps to just kind of relax the tension. I feel like a little bit, just coming up with some really goofy questions. I don't know. Maybe people think I'm weird, but at the same time, it's me. So I'm being authentic.
They'll remember you.
Exactly. It's being memorable. That's exactly right.
Yeah, they will definitely remember you. So you have two businesses. Let's get back to that for a second, because there are a lot of people that go out networking, I've noticed, that do have more than one thing going on. So how do you not confuse people?
It is a challenge. And honestly, I did only have one business for a while that I really focused on. I really did the travel for a long time. And I've only kind of introduced the AI portion of what I'm doing. And there are times where I really only focus on one in a specific networking group. And even if I go to the same networking group, I may just focus on a different one the next time I go. Because you really don't have a lot of time in a networking setting when you're really just trying, meeting a lot of different people. And then the biggest thing I have found is in like the follow-up. So when you're following up with someone is when you can really kind of expound. So whichever business I focused on when I was talking to people, and then I can kind of add in, I also do this, and maybe mention that in the follow-up email, or especially if you're going to have a one-to-one with someone afterwards, and expound on that. Because really, if you're listening and you're in that conversation and you're finding out what that person really wants, you can also tailor your business to that. I mean, if I'm talking to someone, especially like about travel or something, and find out they've never been out of the country, they don't even want to travel, well, that's not going to go anywhere, right? So maybe they really need the other business or something, and then I can focus more on that. So
yeah,
that was kind of a long answer.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. But you hit on something there, one-on-ones. So a lot of people do one-on-one coffee conversations or Zoom calls or whatever. What is the biggest thing that you try to get out of that initial one-on-one?
An initial one-on-one is mostly I want to find out what their businesses, what their needs are, what kinds of things that I might either be able to personally help them with from my businesses, but if I can't, from my perspective, help them, then who can I help refer them to? Who can I introduce them to that I already know from my network that can help them? Because if I can help them meet a need that they have in some way, they're going to trust me still, and respect me in a way that even if I'm not the one fulfilling that need, right? So being able to connect people that way, I think is just huge. So you have to find those things out. So that is my main goal, is finding out how can I help them, not to just come forward and just preach and say, here, blah, 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 here's my stuff. Take it, take whatever you want,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good, just approach it with curiosity mostly.
Right.
Yeah. Curiosity. And of course, they're going to reciprocate and ask you a little bit more about what your needs are and who you're looking to be connected with, because it might not be a good fit.
Right.
Either way for that person or you. But like you said, we all know people if we're avid networkers. So, all right. So how do you decide? Let's stick with your AI business for a second, your AI ads primarily. How do you decide which events, which groups to go to How do you
Mm,
kind of know that the right people will be in the room, either as clients, which of course we're not prospecting, but
right.
or connections, good connections?
Some networking groups can be niche specific or business specific, and of course in those I can gravitate towards ones that do align with what I'm looking for, but I mainly want to go to ones that focus more on like relationship building, or ones that
Mhm.
are built on not just coming and everyone throwing their cards at each other, because
Yeah.
I really want ones that do help and kind of make a space for people to build relationships, because that's really what I focus on. So
Yeah. So the speed networking, like speed dating, isn't your jam.
it's not. I mean, I've done them before. Really, the biggest thing that those help me with is like I can just find out, okay, what business partners could I potentially align
Hmm.
with in the future, and then just be able to set up those one-to-ones with them, because I'm like, well, this was great. I have 5 minutes. Okay, I got your name. That's great. And I got your card. But at that point, I'm like, I don't know much of anything about your business, but I can connect with you later if I feel like, hey, we might actually be able to work together. But
Yeah.
it's not really more about those client relationships at that point, because you can't really find out what somebody needs in three
Right.
minutes.
No, it's almost impossible. Almost impossible.
Correct.
All right. So, little rapid fire networking questions. You ready?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you've already told us some different ways that you start conversations, but give me your best line to get out of a conversation that's just dragging kind of on, even if it's a good one. Like it's not necessarily a bad conversation, but just, it's just taking up a lot of your time.
So, okay, I would probably say something like, no, I really appreciate all that you are offering. Thank you for your card. If they gave me the card, and if not, I would love to circle back to this when we have more time to discuss it. Something like that. Or I can also say, let's follow up with an email on this so we can discuss it more in more detail. That
Yeah.
kind of thing, because that will help
Okay.
me to then say we've got more time later. Is kind of how I would be putting it, to discuss it, so we can kind of talk with some other people at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Next one. What's a piece of advice that you would give for people to stay top of mind with their network?
So it really is follow up. And I mean, in complete transparency, this is the part I'm trying to grow the most, because follow up is a challenge. It's a challenge for a lot of people, and I'm really trying to make sure when I am coming from an event and a networking, is to continue to give those pieces of information to people, and whether it's something that they've actually asked for, or something that you have just kind of ascertained from the conversation that may be helpful for them.
Mhm.
And again, it's being able to help them in some way, even if it's not your services, being able to give them something that they find valuable, that then they will keep in mind. So when they ever do get to a point where they need your services, they remember you.
Yeah.
So I think keeping it memorable, and then just keeping on top of that follow up is really important.
That's great. All right. So let's move away from networking a minute and go back to just basic business building because you've built a successful travel business.
Yeah.
Give us a piece of advice that you are going to take from your experience building the travel business. What piece of advice are you giving yourself with this new business and
Mm.
therefore could give other people in building their business?
Mm. So I think the main thing for me is, I do love learning, and I'm always open to being teachable and always learning new things. Sometimes to the point of that's kind of all I do, is just keep learning, learning, learning. And so the biggest advice is to take action quicker, before I'm ready, because sometimes you feel like I'm not quite ready. I need to know more. I need to know more, and then I'll do it. I need to know a little more, and then I'll do it. And then you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and it kind of passes you by a little bit. And you could have started sooner, even though you're scared. Start scared, start sooner, and just kind of learn as you're going. That would be what I would tell myself, because I could, from
Yeah.
the past. now. That's what I'm doing now. I'm starting sooner and starting scared, but doing
Starting
it.
scared. Yeah. Starting
Yeah,
scared and starting sooner. That's wonderful. That's a good piece of advice. Well, thanks for being with us today, Jess. I
of
appreciate it.
course. Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Network Build Grow podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow entrepreneur or professional. And of course, if you're not yet part of our community, visit networkbuildgrow.com to connect with us. Until next time, keep building and keep growing.